Welcome, everyone, to deep dive into what might just be the most endearingly miserable predator on the entire planet. Today, we're talking about the Greenland shark. This creature haunts the frigid, dark waters of the North Atlantic and the Arctic Ocean. And honestly, it's the physical embodiment of a really bad Monday. It's a living, swimming case of the grumps, and I'm here for it. Let's start with its face. Just look at this thing. It has this perpetually unimpressed, slightly bewildered expression, like it just woke up from a nap it didn't want to end. And speaking of waking up, imagine opening your eyes and not being able to see a thing. Well, for most Greenland sharks, that's just daily life. The vast majority of them are functionally blind. Why? Because of a particularly nasty little freeloader. There's a specific type of parasitic copepod, Amatocoita elongata, that has a strange and frankly rude fascination with the Greenland shark's corneas. These parasites latch right onto their eyeballs and just hang there for life, feeding on the corneal tissue. Over time, this causes severe scarring and eventually leads to near-total blindness. So now we have a colossal shark reaching lengths of over 20 feet that can't see where it's going. It's essentially a submarine with broken navigation. You might think, well, at least it's a shark, it must be fast and powerful, right? Wrong, so very wrong. The Greenland shark is the undisputed heavyweight champion of slow swimming. Its average cruising speed is less than 1 mile per hour. To put that into perspective, a human can walk 3 to 4 times faster. You could literally outwalk this apex predator. It moves so slowly that it makes a sloth look like an Olympic sprinter. Its top speed, when it's really, and I mean really pushing itself, might reach a blistering 2 miles per hour. It is a miracle these things don't just accidentally bump into an iceberg and call it a day. It's a 20-foot blind, slow-motion torpedo of despair, navigating the abyss without a map, a guide, or even a sense of urgency. So the big question is, how on earth does a blind, slow-moving giant manage to eat? It seems like a recipe for starvation. But this is where the Greenland shark's story gets truly bizarre and incredibly impressive. What it lacks in speed and sight, it more than makes up for in sheer, stubborn, unyielding existence. It's the master of the long game. Scientists have been baffled for years trying to figure out its hunting strategy. When they've examined the stomach contents of these sharks, they found some truly shocking things. Sure, there are the usual suspects like fish and seals. But they've also discovered remains of animals that seem impossible for this slowpoke to catch. We're talking about polar bear remains. I repeat, a polar bear. How does a creature moving at a snail-heel's pace catch one of the Arctic's most formidable land predators? And it doesn't stop there. Researchers have found entire reindeer, antlers and all, inside a Greenland shark's stomach. A whole reindeer. How does that happen? Did the reindeer go for a very ill-advised swim? Did it fall through the ice? The prevailing theory isn't that the shark is some secret speed demon. Instead, it's likely a master opportunist and scavenger. It probably uses its incredible sense of smell to locate carcasses that have fallen into the water. A polar bear or reindeer that died on the ice and sank to the bottom is a 5-star meal for a Greenland shark. It doesn't need to be fast when its dinner is already served. There's another theory, a much creepier one, that suggests it might be an ambush predator in the truest sense. Some scientists believe it could be sneaking up on sleeping seals. Seals in the Arctic often rest near the water's edge, or even in the water to avoid polar bears. The Greenland shark, moving with near-silent slowness through the dark water, could potentially approach a sleeping seal completely undetected and snatch it before it even knows what's happening. It's the ultimate stealth attack, executed at a pace that's more unnerving than terrifying. It's not a jump scare, it's a slow, creeping dread. Now, let's talk about the Greenland shark's most mind-blowing feature, its lifespan. This creature doesn't just live long. It redefines the concept of old age for vertebrates. Get ready for this. The Greenland shark is the longest living vertebrate known to science, with a lifespan that can reach and possibly exceed 400 years. Let me say that again. 400 years. Some individuals swimming in the ocean today were born during the Renaissance. They were around before the founding of the United States, before the Industrial Revolution, before Shakespeare wrote his most famous plays. They have witnessed centuries of human history from the silent depths. They likely won't even notice when the internet becomes a distant memory. This incredible longevity is tied to their slow-motion lifestyle. Everything about them is in low gear. Their metabolism is incredibly slow, a necessary adaptation for living in near-freezing water where energy is scarce. They grow at a glacial pace, maybe only a centimeter a year. They don't even reach sexual maturity until they're about 150 years old. Imagine waiting a century and a half for your awkward teenage phase to be over. For the Greenland shark, that's just life. It plays the long game better than any other creature. It doesn't need to rush. When you have 4 centuries to get things done, you can afford to take your time finding a meal, or a mate, or just generally drifting through the abyss. As if being an ancient, blind, slow-moving giant wasn't enough, nature decided to add one more bizarre trait to the Greenland shark's resume. It's poisonous. Well, its flesh is. The meat of the Greenland shark is saturated with a compound called trimethylamine N-oxide, or TMAO. This chemical acts as a natural antifreeze, protecting the shark's cells from damage in the icy water. It's a brilliant evolutionary adaptation. However, if a human eats the fresh meat, their digestive system converts this TMAO into trimethylamine, which is a potent neurotoxin. Consuming it can lead to a state that's been described as a severe, debilitating form of drunkenness. People experience extreme dizziness, disorientation, hallucinations, and have trouble even standing up. It's essentially a trip you do not want to take. In Iceland, there's a traditional dish called hakarl, which is fermented Greenland shark meat. The process of fermenting and drying the meat for several months breaks down the toxins, making it edible. But even then, it's famous for its incredibly strong ammonia-like smell and taste, which Anthony Bourdain once described as one of the most disgusting things he'd ever eaten. So not only is it a giant, blind, ancient tube of meat, it's also a poisonous one. It's a walking, or rather, slowly drifting, biohazard. So let's recap this magnificent mess of a creature. We have a shark that can't see, moves slower than you can walk, and waits for its food to die of old age or fall from the sky. It was born when pirates roamed the seas and will probably outlive us all. Its flesh will make you question reality if you eat it raw. It's a creature that seems to be a collection of evolutionary disadvantages, and yet, it thrives. It is 100% factual-ish, because it feels like a creature dreamed up for a fantasy novel. It is a testament to the fact that there isn't just one way to be successful in nature. You don't have to be the fastest, the strongest, or the smartest. Sometimes the secret to survival, the key to virtual immortality, is just to be as profoundly strange, slow, and unappetizing as possible. The Greenland shark is a humbling reminder of how much we still do not know about our own planet. It exists in a world so alien to our own, a world of crushing pressure, perpetual darkness, and biting cold. It's a living relic, a silent witness to centuries of change, carrying the secrets of the deep in its slow, ancient heart. It might be the embodiment of a bad Monday, but it's also a symbol of incredible resilience. It's proof that life finds a way, even if that way is bizarre, blind, and unbelievably slow. Thanks for joining this deep dive into the wonderfully weird world of the Greenland shark. If you want to live forever, but hopefully with better vision and less poisonous skin, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.